Welcome to this particular broadcast. Remember, being Tuesday, then we usually talk about. We're glad that you are with us, Dan Ruto. Remember that Dan Kipkorir Ruto actually is a Senate aspirant. He's a senatorial aspirant in the by-election that is bound to be held in Elgeyo Marakwet. Remember that Kipchumba Murkomen, who was the senator for Elgeyo Marakwet, is now the CS for transport, and so we have a by-election coming up. But then before we go there, then welcome to this particular broadcast. Ingia hapo ndani, tag your friends. Let me know if you're already watching, and tell me kama unanipata vizuri. Let's engage, bring those friends there, and let's also have this particular conversation. Remember that right now, and today we titled this as Youth in Politics, because Dan is actually a young person. And so if you have any question for him, whether you come from Elgeyo Marakwet or not, then shoot those questions and tag as many friends as possible. Let's have this conversation, let's engage, and let's learn. Before I go far, allow me to just allow Dan to introduce himself, and then we'll pick it up from there. So, karibu sana Dan.
Thank you, Khaled. It's a privilege being hosted by you, the Morning Glory Show. And I want to, number one, to commend you guys for the great job that you're doing. And also, as a young person, I'm really proud of you. Keep the fire burning, keep going. The future is always in your hands. So I wish you the best in this show. I think I've seen it grow, and I'm confident that in the near future you're going to go places. So keep it up. Now, my name is Dan Ruto. My name is Dan Ruto, officially Dan Kipkorir Ruto.
I think I'm told that maybe we're not getting your mic well, so as they try to fix that, I'll continue to just welcome my guest. Keep tagging your friends, keep coming there. Of course, today we're coming in almost 15 minutes late due to a few technical hitches, but then trust you me, we're going to have a very, very, very beautiful conversation. So ingia pale ndani kwenye comment section, tag as many friends as possible. Remember, we're coming in from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is situated in Eldoret. Dawi Afrique Photography is situated in Eldoret, Zion Mall, basement. So if you're going to have an event and you need anyone to document your event, talk to Dawi Afrique Photography. Sampling some of your comments, those who are already in, thank you so much. Asbel Kimboy, Nishnamona Shaingia, Queen Shita, naona ameingia, thank you so much. Kim's Lavin, naona metag friends pale, thank you so much. Kim's Lavin, there's also Lee Maritim, I thank you, atilea metime, Aki asante. Tag now as many friends as possible, and let's have this particular conversation. Kibet ET, good morning bro, make sure tafadhali akisha, keep 8. Hey, okay, that is kind of complicated, so make sure that you're also here with us. Good morning, that is who? Asbel Ametagwa, thank you so much, and kindly let's have as many people watching as possible, because we would want to have this conversation. And remember, Dan will be answering a lot of questions today about his ambition, his political bid. We're also going to encourage ourselves as youth, and so I think his mic has been fixed, so once again, Dan, thank you so much. Karibu sana. Thank you for, first of all, accepting to be with us. I know it's not easy to wake up in the morning and attend an early morning interview, so karibu sana. And I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself, and yeah, just introduce yourself.
Thank you, Kaya. You can meet again. As I mentioned earlier, I want to congratulate you guys for the great job that you're doing. Dawi Afrique together, very nice media. It is something worth mentioning, what you guys are doing, and especially the fact that you're a young person, and I've seen you starting the whole thing, and to where it is currently, I can say that the future is always following us, so keep doing it, and also keep focusing on the issues that affect the society at large. And the topical issues that we've been mentioning, it's quite educative and quite informative. So thank you for that, and also keep moving.
Thank you.
For starters, my name is Dan Kipkorir Ruto, and famously known as Dan.
Okay.
Yeah. People don't know my full name. People always prefer. I think people call me Dan. But officially, I'm Dan Kipkorir Ruto. There's a young man from Elgeyo Marakwet County, born and bred in Marakwet County, and basically the headquarters of Elgeyo Marakwet County, which is introduction of myself. I was born in Turkey. I did my law primary in Kamari primary. And then I proceeded for my upper classes in E10 primary before going to Tamach High School.
Boma.
Which was famous.
You didn't Boma?
Yeah. Which was famously known as Boma. And we used to be told that it is a place where boys are converted to men. And then after that, I came to Eldoret. And I think I'll use this platform also to be, I always, especially my education background, I always used to motivate young people, and especially now that people are getting, young guys are getting prepared to do their KCSE. Myself, I always say that I wasn't a genius in class. I was just an average student, and I did my class 8. I was that student that you could hardly notice that I'm in class. I was just an average student. You could hardly notice if I'm performing well or I'm doing badly. So I finished my class 8. I got 333 marks, which was very average. And then I proceeded to Tambas. I used to encourage myself that I'm not a genius, but I can always try to be somebody. Like when I went to Tambas School, I worked hard. I did my best, and my best in Tambas School, I came out with a C+, which I always say that it might not have been the best grade, but it was just also an average grade. So I got a C+ there. But whatever I intend to do, I always do it to my level best. I was good in mathematics, and for that matter, I ensured that I got an A in maths. So I came to Eldoret, where since I didn't manage to go to campus directly to what is called joint admission board, I was job. I came to Eldoret. I started doing some courses. I started doing a course in business administration. That is a diploma. I did that, and then after that, I enrolled for higher diploma. I did the higher diploma in human resource management, and then after that, concurrently, I was doing my CPAs, that is now Certified Public Accountancy. I did my CPAs. Now it got to a point whereby now I was so motivated to get to campus. Now I talked with my parents. They tried to solicit for some funds for me to go to campus. Then I applied for my bachelor's in Mo University. I applied for banking and finance, and that's when I enrolled for banking and finance. But the good thing is, because Nasemanga Kaya, me did what we call the bottom up in education. So lucky, I got enrolled as a third-year student because I did the diploma.
What used to be called mature entry?
Mature entry.
Okay.
That is so I got there. I graduated in class of 2014, but I graduated in 2015 with bachelor's in banking and finance, second class upper division. So after that, I was privileged also to now start lecturing. And I lectured in a number of institutions in town.
And maybe before we go there, just sample a few comments, and also maybe I'm told to pump up your mic, so kindly let's pump up Dan's mic. People are saying wangependa kumpata zaidi ya hapo. Just to sample a few comments before we go ahead. Dan is actually now finished school, and I know I wouldn't want to interrupt your introduction, but of course I wanted people to get you better. Before we go back to Dan, allow me to sample some of your comments, and also keep encouraging you to also bring your friends along. MC Masiri is already in. Thank you so much. Eliud Kolil, thank you so much. Joachim Rob, thank you so much. I think I'm also seeing Chemtai Talam. Thank you so much. Make sure that you tag as many friends as possible. I'll also be reading more comments as the show unveils. So if you have any questions for Dan as a young person and also as an aspirant in the senatorial race to replace Kipchumba Murkomen in Elgeyo Marakwet, also shoot those questions to me. I'm sure you're getting Dan better now. So Dan, you'll now take it up from now you've finished campus and you're starting to lecture.
Yeah, that is when I started lecturing. I used to lecture in Alfax College. I did Apex Institute, and also finally I lectured University of Eldoret, where I used to lecture accountancy and some of commercial law, business law, introduction to law. That is just to mention a few. Then after that, I got an opportunity to also work with an hospital, just to mention that is St. Luke's Hospital, as an accountant. And that is when now the passion to venture into business striked. I took the leap of faith and also chose to now venture into business. That is when in 2018 I chose to resign and get into business. It was a challenging time, and also it was a very risky decision to make, considering that I just got married. And I remember mentioning to my wife that I'm choosing to quit. And by the way, Kalia, when I made that decision to quit, I think the only person that I mentioned to was my wife.
Okay.
And surprisingly, she supported me, which was quite motivating. Because sometimes you find that there are those decisions that you want to make, but you think by sharing with a number of people, basically a good percentage of them will always discourage you from making that decision. But so I chose to keep it to myself, but also chose to share with only my spouse. I did that. I resigned and ventured into what I'm doing currently. So that is when we worked on D-Square, since D-Square had started in 2017, but now since I was here employed, I had D-Square here. So I saw that it would be wise for me to choose one line, because at the end of the day, if you choose to serve two masters or two lines, at the end of the day, one might fall, either the career or the business. So,
okay.
Yeah, that is so. I think
you?
That is basically me to where I am currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
And somebody would ask a question: why now? Then why are you getting into politics? D-Square is doing quite well. For those who don't know, Dan actually runs a very vibrant business. It is a cloth line called D-Square, and I think in the last 2-3 years, it's been one of the biggest brands in the region when it comes to dressing. And so somebody would really want to know, why would you move away from business and go into politics?
I think that's the same question that somebody would ask me when I chose to leave employment for business. Because in life, the moment you get comfortable, the moment you start dying. And for me, I'm always that person who always want to take another step of risk. And the same step that I took in 2018 to resign and do business is the same step that I'm making in 2022 to step out of business, not basically to step out, but also to try another avenue and that is politics. Number one, I'm one person that I've always had that urge to serve my people. And because it's just about changing the title. Leadership has been part of me. If I can just mention, since high school, I was a dome captain. And then after high school, when I was in campus also, I was the chairperson of Elders 2014. And then again, when I was in campus, by the way, I formed a movement which was dubbed Youth for Christ and Education. And that movement is something that it was quite robust and also very radical across the county. We had more than 30 youth in terms of membership. And we did a lot with the movement because if I can remember, just to mention a few, we had a lot of activities. For example, we had what we call Pandamiti Initiative, which we used to identify places and go there in schools and even deforested areas. We planted trees. We also had what we call Christmas Poa Mashinani, which we used to visit the elderly, the less fortunate in the society during Christmas Eve. That is on 24th of every Christmas. And just to mention, we made partnership with like Lorna K. Plagat Foundation. And if I can just pinpoint an instant where I think up to today I still remember, we visited about 70 families in Flospa. And when we visited those people, it was on 24th of 2020, it was around 2015. So we visited these families, and they were elderly. They were quote unquote. They didn't expect anything for Christmas. So we did some good shopping. We took there, and these old men and women really cried that we can have young people who could think about visiting us at this time. For them, like what I can quote is a very old mzee that they were not even aware that the next day was what we call Christmas. And that touched me. And they made a lot of declaration. They blessed us. And up to today, I still remember, and it still rings in my mind, the words that they spoke and the blessings that they showered as young men and women. And at that time, we were not employed. At that time, we didn't have even jobs. And up to today, I think what God has done, if I can see across the board, the members that were in that movement, they are people that they have made strides in life. And I could credit such blessings to what God has blessed us in life. And I always challenge people that legacy is not about what you own. Legacy is not about what you've built. Legacy is not about what you've acquired in life. Legacy is about the lives that you've touched, what you've given to humanity, what you've given to the society. So that is what has always driven me. Up to today, I can say that in most occasions, I look not what I get as a person, but what somebody can say that I have achieved this because of the support that I received from Dan Ruto. So that has been a motivation factor. And as I venture into politics now, as I come back to your question, it is not about getting the title of Mheshimiwa. It is not about getting the title of Honorable. It is not about getting the status in the society. It's about serving humanity. It's about giving back to the society that held my hand since when I was young. It is about the society that groomed me to who I am currently. So basically, I'm going there as a motivation to give back to the people that saw me grow to the person that I'm into. And I think as we continue this conversation, that is when I'll now mention what I intend to do to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. Yeah.
Okay, precisely. He'll get enough time to share about his ambition for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet. But then before we go there, keep tagging your friends, keep bringing them here. Remember that at the end of this particular broadcast, somebody will be walking away with a cake. Based on the comments, based on the interactions you've been having with our posts. Actually, I would be giving away 2 cakes at the end of this particular show. Today, and like other days, I'll be giving out 2 cakes. So make sure that at the end of this particular broadcast, you'd have engaged the broadcast to your level best. And make sure that also, if you have anyone you know in Elgeyo Marakwet whom you feel needs to tune into this particular broadcast, let them tune into it. Dan there precisely saying that actually it is just a change of title, but then at the end of it all, even currently, he's serving humanity, having given some short and brief history of how and where he's come from. My next question then takes us actually to the current political situation, where we see a lot of youth coming up, we see a lot of people coming up, and my next question actually would be: so many people would say that you guys were not there a few months ago. We had the primaries. What would have happened if Murkomen was not nominated to be CS, or actually right now he's appointed? What would have happened? Because you guys were not there in the primaries. You were not there in in the main election, even as independent candidate and all that. So somebody would ask, what is the motivation now? Is it because Murkomen is not in that space? Is it because maybe you felt Murkomen was big enough and you wouldn't want to disturb him? Why are you coming in now?
Thank you, Kalia, for that question. Allow me, before I respond to your question, just to mention something about also the cake that you are just awarding.
Okay.
So you always do 2 cakes. So today I think we can add the third one.
Okay.
I'll buy one for somebody from Elgeyo Marakwet, and a young person who thinks that he or she deserves the third cake, and also. Just to promote because I love promoting entrepreneurs, just to promote the
actually
cake
the company
house
that gives us the cake
cake
is called
house.
Red Royal Cake House.
Red
So
Royal
today
Cake
you're
House.
winning 2 cakes courtesy of Red Royal Cake House. Then there's a single cake that is being added by Dan. And what I want you to do in the comments is just tell me why you really feel you deserve the cake. By the way, just tell me why you or the person you would want to win the cake deserves that particular cake. In the meantime, you're already in the broadcast. Kindly hit the like button so that I know you're here. Hit the like button. Let me know that you're around. But then, as I've said, give me a reason why you really feel you deserve the cake. Dan has bought 1 cake. I had 2 cakes on the show. So we now have 3 cakes for you on the comment section. Tell me why you really feel you deserve the cake. We have 3 cakes. You can nominate somebody or nominate yourself. Thank you so much. Asante sana Dan for the cake.
Sawa asante. Now going back to your question now, I think if you are a keen follower of my postings, I had made an intention to buy in 2022. That is just to mention. But what made me pull back is the fact that I've been a great inspiration in terms of being inspired by Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, and it's been something that I've been looking into if at one point I could replace him. But in 2022, I thought that Kipchumba Murkomen has done great things with regard to service to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, and I thought that he deserved another chance to serve in the same capacity. So that is what made me not to venture into that politics of 2022 general elections. But now, when he was appointed as the CS, and just to mention, I would wish to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for considering Kipchumba Murkomen, and also for rewarding the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, because by the Elgeyo Marakwet we voted Kenya Kwanza, that is His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to a tune of 94%. So I think it would have been wise, and also it was wise for His Excellency to consider rewarding the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. And also, before even thanking His Excellency, I think the first credit was supposed to go to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. Why? Because they believed in Kipchumba Murkomen in 2013, when even he was barely noticed across the country. So I think we need to give credit to the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County for believing in Kipchumba Murkomen in 2013, when he was just a young guy, barely noticed, to where he is now. So I want to thank the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. So I think that was the reason that I was not in the previous election.
Okay. Because
I think Kipchumba had done a lot. So why not now? Why not?
And somebody asking here already, Wilfred Kangogo saying, why not start from bottom up? I mean, he could be a perfect candidate for MCA. And also in connection to it, then, this is a race that has really attracted a lot of people. I think you're almost 30.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is happening?
I think I'm one person who is always very optimistic and always love to see things from a positive point of view. I think the 30 or more people, everybody because the moment you make a choice, you do that as an individual, and by having such a huge number of aspirants, I think it is a confidence to the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County that indeed we have a lot of young men and women who aspire to be leaders, because we used to be told that sisi ni viongozi wa kesho. But I think Kesho is today, so it is something that it's worth noting, and also it's something that needs to be credited, because we've seen young men and women getting into politics. So on a positive point of view, it's okay. And then to respond to Kangogo about why not bottom up in terms of the Bible, if I can quote the Bible.
Yeah, you can quote the Bible, you're free.
It says that some were called to be pastors, some were called to be prophets, some were called to be even apostles.
So in a similar way, some
in a similar way, to respond to that question, I can just use the same verse. Some were called to be MCAs, some were called to be senators, some were called to be governors, just like that.
So maybe you feel that maybe you'll be saying in Senate and okay, of course, in the future you may want to move away from that. So do you think you may receive a second calling and you'd have not to go to governor or something else?
Because I'll be sharing my agenda, and I think my calling has been in connection to the service or the roles of a senator. Because sometimes you find that somebody today tries to be an MCA, he fails to clinch. Tomorrow he tries an MP, he fails to clinch. Tomorrow he tries to be a governor, he fails. The next time you'll find that person will try to be even a chairman of a cattle dip. So I think it's always very important for one to stay focused, keep the focus on the ball, because you cannot be chasing for an antelope. Then along the way you find a rabbit or a hare. You forget the bigger course. You start chasing the smaller course. So it's about focus. It's about ambition. It's about knowing what you want in life. So for me, I'm in this race. Of which I'm in it to win, but also in any unlikely scenario that I lose, I think I'll always look to fight for the same position in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very interesting conversation. Of course, in the next segment, Dan will be sharing about his now dream for Elgeyo Marakwet. But then before we go there, just to remind you, we're coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Remember to always consider working with Dawi Afrique Photography whenever you need anything that goes into photography, videography. Work with Dawi Afrique Photography. Currently, we've been doing the DV lottery. For those who want to travel to the US using the green card, then make sure that you pass by here. I think you barely have 2 or 3 days before the lottery is closed. So pass by Dawi Africa and make sure that you get those photos. Apart some of their services, just to mention, events photography, fashion photography, real estate photography, podcasting. Of course, this particular one is a matrix of a podcast and a live streaming. So if you need any services that go into this kind of production, consider working with the Dawi Afrique Photography, photo mounting and framing, photo book design and print. Those are just some of the services that Dawi Afrique is offering. Before we go to the next segment of the interview, I'll read a few comments from you. There is somebody called, okay, let me just get this. There is somebody called Kapsowar Basketball. I think I'm a tag mtu hapo. Thank you so much for that. Matthew Melly saying interesting conversation. Thank you so much for that. Brayo Tabud, I think I could have one cake. First of all, today is my birthday. For the candidate, I wish him the best, and we could like to hear much from him talking about his manifesto, challenge the other candidates from entire Elgeyo Marakwet. Truly to that, Brian Tabut, Dan will today share his manifesto on this particular broadcast just a few minutes away from now. Still sampling some of your comments. There is somebody called Who here. Quirishi, do you have for Elgeyo Marakwet community? I think we are almost there. We're headed there. Everyone wants to know what you can offer. What makes you extraordinary from the rest of the other aspirants? That is Gladys Kosgei asking. There is somebody called Yatich Zemp asking, what is your take on the state of the country for the past 10 years? I'm sure you'll be able to respond to that. What would you tell the youth now that the employment in Kenya isn't getting better? That is Queen Shi asking. Mercy Chiri saying good morning. I think that everyone is actually so anxious to know what you have for Elgeyo Marakwet. But then before we go there, I would want to ask you a question. All these candidates, I think I've interacted with a few of them, are saying they get inspiration from Kipchumba Murkomen. And so somebody would ask, are we going to get a clown of Kipchumba Murkomen if you go to parliament?
I just wish to be very straightforward on that. I just want to promise the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County that they are not going to have Kipchumba Murkomen as their senator. They are going to have Dan Ruto as their senator.
Okay, then jump into it. Tell us what you have for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet.
And I'm saying this because at the end of the day, we are born differently. We are driven by different aspirations. We are driven by different ambition, because even if I strive to be Kipchumba Murkomen, I cannot be Kipchumba Murkomen. That's a fact. And also, it's an inspiration that we are driving from Kipchumba Murkomen, and I think the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet should be open to the fact that they are not going to have Kipchumba Murkomen again as the senator. Yeah, they are going to have Dan Ruto as their senator. They are going to have somebody different. And by having somebody different, it means that you expect something different, because at the end of the day, if you go with the intention of having Kipchumba, you might be disappointed. But if it's an open opportunity for having another candidate, and it means we are going to have somebody who is going to bring something new to the table, who is going to bring some new ideas, who is going to bring some changes as a matter of fact. So I'm always very open to the fact that I'll not try to, because tomorrow you'll find that now, if I can now try to walk like Kipchumba Murkomen, to talk like Kipchumba Murkomen,
you try to argue like
and to argue like Kipchumba Murkomen, I might even be better. But now, I think I'll disappoint on that I'll not be Kipchumba Murkomen. I'll be Dan Ruto, who is willing and very determined to be in his shoes, and also to do much better than, because at the end of the day we are looking forward to do more than what he did. Yeah, he did great, but also as we get there, we are looking forward to even do more than what he did. So that's the point that I would wish to put across candidly. Yeah.
And before you share your manifesto, because time has come for us to go there, there is somebody asking, what is your view about leadership for the last maybe 10 years, especially now that Kipchumba Murkomen was there? What are your views? What do you think could be done better? There was somebody also who had shot a question about Elgeyo Marakwet being one of those counties with a very huge, they are very small when it comes to revenue creation, yet they have a lot of things. I think they have a very heavy burden when it comes to pending bills and all that. And so that question came repeatedly when I posted your poster. So maybe as part of now, when you're sharing your manifesto, be able to touch on that. So I'll give you time to actually now address the people of Elgeyo Marakwet through that camera, talk to them, let them understand what is it that you're bringing to the table.
I think those are like three questions.
Yeah.
Number one is about the state of nation.
The state of the nation in the last 10 years. And also specifically, also talk about Elgeyo Marakwet in the last 10 years.
Sawa. I think just the state of the nation for the last, I would wish to extend to the last 20 years, to cover the 2 terms that we've had previously. That is of Mwai Kibaki and previously Uhuru Kenyatta. And now we have William Ruto. Number one, if I can just, because I want to zero down to the economic part of it, forgetting about the political and the social part of it. If I can compare President Kibaki's term and Uhuru's term, in terms of President Kibaki, we could tell that Kibaki took took at a very low economic point in the nation, and then now there was an interruption in 2007 when due to post-election violence that occurred, and in the second term of Mwai Kibaki, we could have seen that the economy of the country had dropped even to around 3% from 7%. And Kibaki did a lot. And to compare the two terms of Uhuru and Kibaki is the fact that Kibaki concentrated on what we call the basic. That was education, to ensure that people have food, to ensure that people got the basic part of it. When the Jubilee government came in 2013, I think what they concentrated more is the infrastructural part of it in terms of long-term projects. And when talk about long-term projects, number one, the repercussions of such projects is what we call capital intensive, because at the end of the day, what you are going to accrue, the benefit that the nation is going to accrue, or the citizens are going to benefit, is in terms of is going to be expected in the long term, because we find that is what was incorporated in the Vision 2030. And when you invest a lot in infrastructural project, the people might not feel immediately, and that is what happened in the last 10 years. People could not feel directly in terms of what is it that affects their lives, what is it that stabilizes their source of livelihood, and that is what I can compare on the two governance. And when we come to the current governorship, this is what it's a wait and see to see how because we are in a very tough economic times. We have a lot of public debts, and we have a lot of things that surround the current administration. So it's a wait and see to see how they are going to balance, to ensure that at the end of the day, and it's a good thing that we saw in their manifesto and in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto.
And of course, you're going to be part of Kenya Kwanza now that you're vying with
yeah. And of course, the fact that we are grounded by the drive that at the end of the day is pesa mfukoni. So I think Kenyans are very anxious to get that pesa mfukoni moment. And it's something that it's a wait and see, and I would wish to be part of the contributors to the great manifesto of Kenya Kwanza, in line with what I want to do for the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now, coming back now to my manifesto, or my plan. Let me not call it a manifesto, but a plan for Elgeyo Marakwet County. For me, I've listed it or zeroed down to 5 points. And the first three, it's about the role of a senator. It's about what I intend to do for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. As far as Article 97 of the Constitution is concerned, that is as the role of a senator. And then the last two is about me as a leader of Elgeyo Marakwet County. So just to mention the five, number one is about when we talk about representation. Because in law, now that I was a teacher of law at some point, when talk about representation, the opposite of representation is misrepresentation. What is it that the national government know about the great people of Marakwet County? That is what now I need to present to the national government. Because when you are talking about sharing of resources, the question is, are you representing the true picture of Elgeyo Marakwet County? So myself, I'm coming in and say that I'm going to give the right information or the right representation about the state and affairs of the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County and the great and the entire county. Because at the end of the day, when you misrepresent, when you give a wrong information about Elgeyo Marakwet County, it means that they are going to receive a wrong share of what they deserve. And Elgeyo Marakwet County is a great county, but it is, I can categorize and confidently say that it is a marginalized county, because as a senator, we expect 3 avenues in terms of resources to come to Elgeyo Marakwet County. Number one, what we expect from the exchequer. Number two, we have 2 avenues that I think me as their senator will try to to zero down to these two avenues. Number one, in terms of grants. What grants can we get? Because at the end of the day, what we receive from the exchequer, Kalia, as Elgeyo Marakwet County, is around 4.4 billion from the exchequer, that is the national government. And when we talk about 4.4 billion, that is what gets to the county. Now, the challenge gets in it because under among the 4.4 billion that we receive from the national government, 75% of the 4.4 billion goes to what we call recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
When we talk about recurrent expenditure, these are monies that are paid without expecting anything in return. These are the monies that you pay to salaries, you are paying to utilities, you are paying to all those costs.
What a layman would call running.
That is the operation cost of the county, which is in one way or another, I think it is balloon because 75% of 4.4 billion, what remains for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet in terms of development, in terms of what they need to get in terms of services, is 25%. When we talk about 25% of 4.4 billion, that's around 800 million. In a population of around 457,000, if you do that distribution, then you find that what we are receiving is less as per head, per person in the county. So I think it's something that needs to be, and as also as having the mind of finance, having the mind of investment, and also accountancy. I think I want to appreciate even the formula that they're using in terms of sharing of resources. Previously, the previous formula that we had, it used to concentrate much on population. And because as a weight, the 45% of the what is getting to the county was considering population. So I find that by that we are disadvantaged. Because but we thank
you could be scarcely populated.
Yeah,
mass.
Yeah. And talk about also the geographical area. We are talking about something like 300 to 400,000 kilometers square of Elgeyo Marakwet County, which is something that can be compared with Kakamega County. But now population is something that should change in the previous formula that we had. But we thank the formula that we got that was passed in Senate last year. And it is the same formula that it concentrated much on development. It concentrated much on service, what people should receive. That's why you find that under the formula we have health, we have agriculture as the basic factors that are considered. And as a county, the challenge that we have is I can pinpoint and say that we have a challenge with regard to health before mentioning security. And it's something that I would wish to appreciate also and thank the current governor, because I've seen his efforts to revive back the health sector. And it's something that it needs support, because at the end of the day, if the it's not a one-man show. He needs support, and also to ensure that we have a senator who can also fight for resources to come to Elgeyo Marakwet County. So that is about representation. And now when we talk about oversight as my second agenda, when we talk about oversight, here you're talking about ensuring, because I always try to equate to, if you wake up very early in the morning, assuming at 6, and you go to the river to fetch water, if you are going with a bucket or a container that has some holes, even if you go very early and try to fetch water, by the time you're getting home, I think you'd
have no water.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is about, do we have a container that has holes? Because it will be null, or we can say it will be inconsequential for me to, as their senator, to fight for resources.
Drop in resources, and maybe the bucket is not holding the resources.
Is not holding the resources. So I think it is a challenge also to pinpoint, just to say that the county government should always look forward to ensure that we have prudent use of resources, to ensure that each and every shilling of the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet is taken into account, to ensure that each and every coin of the great people of Elgeyo, because at the end of the day, they pay taxes, at the end of the day, they pay fines, they pay all the licenses and what have you. So what they have contributed to the national stake or to the county stake should be given back to them in a fair share. So I think under oversight will always ensure that the county government, through its leadership, should account for each and every coin for the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet. And this should be done objectively to ensure that we don't lose the bigger picture. Because I'll mention in my last agenda, just to leave that. So I think oversight is a very, very critical role that I'll come in and play to ensure that at the end of the day, the people of Elgeyo Marakwet benefit from what they are allocated. And we might say that we receive less, yes, but at the end of the day, we have to ensure that, because before you are given more, you need to also show that you've maximized or utilized
the little that
you've received. Because in some financial years, we've had instances that at the end of the financial year, some monies go back to the national government, because it means that those money has not been exhausted. It doesn't mean that there is nothing to be done with the money. It means that probably there is no planning, probably there is no laxity and what have you. So I think with the new administration, I think they should get things rolling and ensure that each and every coin is utilized at a point whereby we even lack resources to use, instead of having scenarios whereby resources are going back to the national government at the end of every financial year. So that is with regard to oversight. With regard now to my third point, which is legislation. I think it's a very critical role. And what I would wish to pinpoint is, number one, is about the formula that we have. As an accountant and also as a finance person, I think we can do more. We are having the formula for sharing resources for the next 3 years, which is expected to elapse at the end of 2023 or early 2024. I think I would wish to make a serious contribution to this formula to ensure that, because when we talk about marginalized, the Constitution talk about the marginalized areas, but now when you see 50% of Elgeyo Marakwet County is marginalized, because when we talk about the Hanging Valley, and that is I think that is one of, according to my own point of view, I think that is the main cause of insecurity in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Because when you talk about the valley, it is in serious condition in terms of resources. So I think if we fight for more resources through legislation, and also to ensure that we get a formula that would also consider having a bigger state to a marginalized area, I think we can in one way or another answer the question of insecurity in the valley. Because insecurity in the valley, in my own opinion, it has been caused by the area seems to be undeveloped, by the area seems to be receiving less attention. So I think by having more resources to the valley and opening up the valley in terms of infrastructure, in terms of social amenities, in terms of ensuring that they get another, because for them, I think they have lived over time knowing that they can make money through cows. But I think it's...
So that is the mind that they have.
The mind that
so
they
whatever
have.
they are doing in their own perspective means they could be right.
I cannot say that.
That means, okay, in their own way, they imagine that they're right, and that is the way of life.
I think they imagine that they're in business, but I can say that they were in business until it's business unusual, because we are losing life. People are losing their homes and what have you, and so I think it's a point that needs to be considered by pumping more resources to the valley, and ensuring that the people in the valley know that at the end of the day, they don't need to zero down to this only business. They need to be taught and sensitized about other different businesses, that they can even sell clothes and make money. They can even till land and make money. They can even do other businesses and still make money. And they can never think about that if they have not been given opportunity, if they have not received infrastructure. And it's something that I've always challenged also, and I always talk in my point when Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen was being vetted, he mentioned that he's looking forward to a point to ensure that each and every county should have an airstrip. And it's unfortunate that Elgeyo Marakwet County, we don't have an airstrip. So I was, on a light note, I was trying to challenge him and tell him that also, because charity begins at home, we appreciate the fact that he's the CS of the entire nation. It is a fact. We don't own him and say that now.
Okay, you somehow own him, but then you own him as much as you own him.
Yeah. We need to accept the fact that he's the leader of the entire nation. But charity also begins at home. Yeah. So I would challenge him when he's considering to have the first airstrip. I think because I mentioned that the great of people of Elgeyo Marakwet should be even thanked because we believed in him 2013. So by considering having each airstrip for each and every county, I think he should consider and start with Elgeyo Marakwet County. Okay. And as a matter of fact, we can even have the first airstrip in the valley. You get the point? So that these Oshimias and the people can land in the valley and
as they come up they understand how Elgeyo Marakwet
is, and also we can benefit in terms of tourism because by them crossing and getting up to the highlands, they can buy machungwa, they can buy mangoes in the valley, because that is another source of revenue. And even we have Rimoi Park, they can pass through there and promote our wildlife. So I think that is by having a great legislation to ensure that we have more resources to Elgeyo Marakwet County, it would go a long way to solving a number of issues, also solving unemployment for youth and what have you. The last two, which is the last two agenda that I have, which is very critical to me, because now other than being their senator, I would also be a leader. Because at the end of the day, the works of the senator, at some point, majorly, it's going to be done in Nairobi at the Senate. But now, these two last points are so dear to me, and also they are my core agenda as their leader. Number one, that is now the fourth to mention, which I also prioritize in one or another, is what we call unemployment, especially amongst the youth.
Unemployment?
Yeah. And talk about unemployment. I'm one person who I'm self-employed, yes, but I think I have a calling to the young nation. I have a calling to the young generation. Why am I saying this? A lot of parents have sacrificed a lot to school their children. A lot of parents have sold pieces of land. A lot of parents have sold even their cows. A lot of parents have done to the last sacrifice to make sure that their children go to school. So find that people are learned. We have young men and women who have degrees. We have young men and women who have masters, have PhDs. Some are engineers, some are lawyers, but what they lack is source of employment. So I took this as a very serious agenda in my quest to be their leader, and ask ourselves, what are we going to do? Because find that in the law of demand and supply, the demand is limited in terms of employment, but the supply is overwhelming. Why? Because each and every year we have thousands of graduates from universities. Each and every year we have thousands of graduates who are getting out with qualifications that are considered to be deserving in terms of employment. So I think it will be very important of me as their leader to look on another avenues. And the avenue that I'm talking about is about self-employment. And where are we going? How am I going to implement this? When we talk about self-employment, the question is, and even the Bible says that when Moses was asked, what do you have in your hand? Moses said that I only have a staff.
So at least he had something anyway.
Yeah, so he had something. So the challenge that I'm bringing into the young people of Elgeyo Marakwet County is, what do you have at hand? Because if I had waited for me to be employed in a bank since I graduated in banking and finance, then I probably could be still waiting in one or another. So find that as much as you've received the skill, the knowledge, and the qualification, I would wish to challenge the young men and women. What is it that you can do? We have land, we have opportunities, but the question is, it's about sensitizing them. It's about triggering their mind that indeed you don't have to be in what you're doing. We have the great people like Nzenga Karume, Kina Kirimas of the times. Those are people who didn't have papers. Those are people who at some point didn't go to school, but they were celebrated in what they acquired.
And in fact, apart from them, also we have so many people in the region, even some of our parents who at their time there was no education, but then they managed somehow to maneuver through and also make sure that they get something. So it is actually a very valid point.
Yeah. So I would zero down to an employment course, and also to try and sensitize the young people that you can do something. How will I achieve this? For example, if just to mention with regard to the plan that we as Kenya Kwanza have, we are expecting in December what we call the Hustlers Fund. The Hustlers Fund is a noble cause that, if well implemented, then at the end of the day we are going to benefit. I'm also looking forward to make contributions to see how it's going to be shared across the nation, because we are talking about 50 billion across the nation. If I can do a rough estimate, each and every county is going to receive something like 1 billion. And when you talk about 1 billion in the hands of young people, if I divide fairly across the county, each and every sub-county or each and every constituency is going to receive something like 250 million. But the question is, we had Wezo Fund before, we had Youth Fund before. But how many people benefited from the Youth Fund and the Wezo Fund? That if you can do a percentage, barely 20% of young men and women benefited. So I think we can have good ideas, but now the question is about implementation and how ready are the young people to benefit from the Hustlers Fund. It's something that I'm also sensitizing the young people to an extent whereby, as I go about my campaigns, I'm telling the young people to form their circles, to form their groups, to ensure that they benefit to this. And I go to an extra mile also to try and help them register, to try and help them even funding in terms of the little that I have. If I can help some 1 to 3 people to have a group and also to have a circle for them to benefit, because at the end of the day we might receive the money, but now people will not be there to get the money. You find the point. So it's a point that I would wish to sensitize the young nation that they can make money from business, from land, that is in terms of agriculture, and not only agriculture, but what we call agribusiness, because it's very important to mention that. And then we have opportunities. We can even till even up to cotton in the valley. So find that being in textile industry, it's something that we still have a challenge in textile industry, because there is what we call the high cost of production. But if we try and get resources from our funds, if we try and get resources locally, at the end of the day, we are going to cut on production. So find that at the end of the day, when you get in industrialization and trying to have employment and by the young people, what we need to look into is the cost of production. What we need to look into, how do we sustain this? So as I come in, I would sacrifice also to ensure that the young people get knowledge on how they can make money other than being employed. Because I think what we lack is information, because somebody said that information is power. So if I can sacrifice and ensure that I have programs to tell the young people under the ward level, because having 20 wards in the county, I think it's something manageable, that I can create programs across the ward just to sensitize the young person that as much as you have the papers, as much as you have the qualification, you can still do something else and make money. Because we are talking about pesa mfukoni. That is the ultimate and the bottom line of every young person.
So as long as you have money, that is what matters.
Yeah, because that is the bottom line. Because we are talking about livelihood. You can never make anything if you don't have money. And by having a young person, because we have scenarios whereby the young person is there, is married, both of them doesn't have any job, he has a child. Now, the parents are here. Let's say the parent, like the mother, is a mama mboga. So you'll find that when she's from the 100 shillings that he has made for the day, from the 200, the 300, the 500, when she's doing shopping, then she'll have to do hers and also for the son. So at the end of the day, if we sort out the issue of unemployment for this young person, then we'll have a happy father, we'll have a happy mother, and a happy family at the end of the day. And since the family is the basic unit of each and every society, we'll have a happy society which will transform basically to a happy nation. The last agenda.
And maybe before you go to the last agenda, I'll sample some of the comments and also encourage the viewers that actually we have 3 cakes to be given out today. One was sponsored by Dan, who is actually with us today to share his ambition about the Elgeyo Marakwet senatorial bid. He's actually seeking to replace Kipchumba Murkomen, who was now promoted to be a CS by the president. As we continue to go there, let me just sample some of your comments and also encourage you to tag more friends, bring them in. I'd asked you, why do you think you deserve the cake? Apart from that, also remember that the more you engage the show, the better your chances of winning the cake. Hit that like button. I need to see that you are around. Hit that like button. Nataka nione hizo vitu za likes zikitembea hapo juu, zikitembea mbio mbio, so that I know that you're actually around. There is somebody called, okay, I think I just asked some of these questions, but Queen She is saying, what would you tell the youth now that the employment in Kenya isn't getting better? I think that one has been answered already. There is somebody called Bishop Owen saying, that was a good question. What is your take on the state of the country in the past? I think I had sampled some of these comments. Let me just go down to where maybe I had not sampled them. There is somebody called Wilbert Errant. Thank you so much. That is one of our directors we're not around today, saying, watching from MTRH. Thank you so much. Kosgea Rapche Sir saying, Mambo ya county, my friend. Okay, there's somebody else, I think... on this other side, I have Jose Ameli saying, he's a great gentleman. Dan has the real meaning, is the real meaning of a hustler. Thank you so much. There is somebody called Pascal Kimboy, I think tagging a lot of friends there. Asbel Kimboy saying, keep doing the good work. Matthew saying, as having tagged somebody, thank you so much, Matthew Komen. And Matthew Komen comes from Elgeyo Marakwet. So tuambie, why do you think actually, okay, you are actually in the right place to ask Dan all these questions, and also tag some of your friends to come here and tuambie. Winfred Kangogo is saying Dan is a visionary, strategic and open-hearted. Met him at a burial in Kapteren 2 weeks ago. A great personality. Go hard on it. I fully support you. Thank you so much. MC Kogo saying he's tuned in. Asbel Kimboy is saying, if given an opportunity to serve as a senator of AMC, what are you going to do in terms of the security in the Kerio Valley? I think he's mentioned that. Maybe he'll just have to... add on it. And then I think there is also Asbel saying EMC is among the counties who adopted OPG, that is Open Governance Partnership, which is good thing to you being senator. What are you going to do to strengthen such initiatives and ensure that it is inclusive and fully implemented? I'm sure he'll be able to respond to her. I think Dan is noting that. There is somebody saying, Kim's Lavin saying, Mapema and your best, wish you okay, mapema and your best, Kaka. Wish you well. You deserve. Go for it, Dan. Thank you so much. That is Kim's Levin. I'll be sampling more of your comments as we go, but I think for this time, Kim's Levin saying, if by any chance you are voted in, kindly do not forget Mlalahoi. That is my humble prayer. Thank you so much for the massive input, the massive replies we are getting. We're coming actually to the last bit of this particular interview. Dan going to share his last agenda. Then maybe I'll ask him a question or two, and we shall be giving out the cake in just maybe the next 12 minutes. Before I go there, I would also tell you that my directors are already looking into the comments, and they will advise me on who really deserves the cake better. So make sure that unacheza kama wewe. I'll be showing you the cake in a few moments. So make sure that you participate in this particular broadcast, and that you are actively inside this a particular broadcast. So akisha kwamba unacheza kama wewe, unaingia ndani ya broadcast, unachangamka, and at the end of it all you are able to walk away with the cake. I love the way I'm seeing the like buttons and all the others, the love buttons. Keep them, blow them up. I want to see those fire emojis zikicheza hapo mbio mbio, so that we know that you are part of this particular broadcast. In the next few minutes I'll be giving out a cake. Dan, you've heard the comments, you've seen them. What do you think before you get the last point, obviously?
Yeah, number one, I would wish to thank the viewers for the very positive feedback that we are getting, and just to get back to a viewer who was mentioned about OPG. It is a very great initiative at the end of the day, but I think about sensitization again, and also to ensure that there is what we call equity and fairness at the end of the day, to ensure that each and every party to the treaty is treated fairly, and we have what you call fair benefit to the entire partners. So I think it's something that we can push on in terms of fairness, to ensure that each and every party benefit, and as a county that we are part of it, we benefit, because at the end of the day it's about interest, it's about what do you get, your stake. So I think it's something that I would push on in terms of fairness and equity. That is the bottom line. I think I can now proceed to the last point, agenda. My last agenda is what we call unity of purpose amongst, not about even the citizens, but amongst the leaders. That is my clarion call. That I think by me being their senator, I would really call on unity of purpose. Why am I saying this? Because from my previous study and also from my previous analysis, is that most county government suffer because of what we call disunity amongst the leaders, not even amongst the mwananchi, but amongst the leaders. That is why I saw this as one of the greatest agenda that I need to push forward. Because at the end of the day, we've had instances whereby, assuming I'm elected as a senator, by me being a senator, I try to create an ambition that I want to be a governor. I forget that I was elected as a senator. And I start fighting or trying to oversight the county government in a very not objective way. That's why when I mentioned about oversight, I talked about objective oversight, to ensure that when I'm doing and I'm playing my role as a senator, I have what we call an objective oversight. Why am I saying this? Because across the nation, we've had issues whereby the senator will try to have an evil eye on the governor, the governor having an evil eye probably on the senator, an MCA having an evil eye on the governor, the MP, because at the end of the day, we have leaders who are selfish. We have leaders who don't have the interest of Mwananchi at heart. So find that having this agenda will help a lot of things, because at the end of the day, we can never achieve anything as a divided leadership. Why am I saying this? Because if we want to sort out issues of insecurity, if we want to lobby resources for the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, if we want to ensure that we have development for the greater people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, we have to be united as the MCAs, as the MPs, as the governor, as the MPs, and also as the senator, to have a scenario whereby, why am I driving to this? To have a scenario whereby, as the entire leadership of Elgeyo Marakwet County, we have what we call caucuses, we have what we call meetings, and these meetings can be quarterly, can be semi-annually or annually, so that when we come to these meetings, here seated as a senator, there seated as a governor, we have the MCA there, MP, and we have the women rep there. As a senator, I share my agenda to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. The governor shares his agenda. Then the MCA shares the agenda, MP does the same, and the women rep does the same. And by having each and every agenda, then the question will be, probably from the governor, will ask me as a senator, now, what help do you need from me as a senator to help the governor achieve his agenda for the great people? What benefit or what support will you need? As an MCA, what support will you need from the senator to see you achieve your agenda? What support will the MP need from the senator? What support will the women rep need from the senator? And what support as a senator, what support will I need from the MCA and across the line? And by having those agendas clearly outlined and having the common vision, because at the end of the day, you find that we fight as leaders, but we fight in a common service. We fight in a common cause. What is the cause? To help the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, because the voter remains the same. So the moment we fight, we lose the focus. The moment we fight, we lose the common interest, which is service to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. This is an agenda that I think I'll be very bold on, to ensure that at the end of the day, we have a common cause. At the end of the day, we have a common direction as leaders, to ensure that the person who is going to benefit is the Chepkoech, is the Kipkoech, is the Owino, is the Njoroge, is the person in the far end of Elgeyo Marakwet County, in Marakwet East, in Marakwet West, in KO South and KO North. So I think by having a unity of purpose is going to help us sort a lot of issues. Because when you're talking about, for example, we are lucky that we have a CS. If we'll not be united as leaders, we cannot at some point, just to mention, because we have a lot of ministries, and all the ministries should participate in the growth and development of Elgeyo Marakwet County. So if we'll not have a united leadership, then at the end of the day, we'll have challenge in lobbying for resources, we'll have challenge in representing our people, because at the end of the day, all these people are representative of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. So by having unity of purpose, we are going to ensure that we can easily lobby for resources, we can easily have one voice that will be a representative of the people, and also we can even traverse. As a county, we are lucky that we are known for sports, for instance, just to mention. And we have a lot of, let me call them outsiders in terms of...
and maybe before you go there, then I'll have to actually interrupt you. Sorry that I'm interrupting your final point. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you a question about sports, and as part of your parting shot. At this moment, I would just want to show the viewers the cake that is on the... The next 15 minutes will be off air, then I would have already given out the 2 or even the 3. So make sure that, give me a reason why. I'm seeing the cakes, actually, I think we're having issues with displaying the cake, but we'll have it in the 2 seconds. So there is a cake already, exactly, we're seeing the 2 cakes already on your screens. We have 2 cakes, those cakes, lazima ziende. In the next 10 seconds, we'll be having those cakes there. So make sure, hakikisha kwamba una participate pale kwenye comment section, cheza kama wewe, and you'll be able to actually win those cakes that are appearing on the screen currently. That's why you think you deserve a cake. I've not seen so many comments about that. I'd also told you that you need to participate in the conversation. You need to tag as many people as possible. And so at the end of it, I think my directors are already looking into the comments, and I will be giving out a cake in the next less than 5 minutes. I'll be going back to Dan to give us his parting shot, but as part of his parting shot, actually, I was going to ask him about sports in Elgeyo Marakwet and sports tourism. Then also there is the issue of the terrain. From a cinematographer point of view, I see Elgeyo Marakwet being one of those places that can shoot crazy movies. Nobody is harboring that. So maybe you can mention about tourism and that as part of your parting shot. You have actual limitation of time because you have around 3 minutes. So try as much as possible to do what you can do with the 3 minutes.
Okay, about sports, we are blessed as a county to be a hub of sports and also athletes to be in particular. Just to, I know time is limited, but just to mention, I think sports, I need to speak in 3 dimensions. Number 1 is about how are we going to promote our sportsmen and women. How are we going to bring them to, because they are doing a lot, but there is an issue with appreciating them and also to telling them that they are doing something great. So I think it's something that we need to sit down and discuss and see how are we going to motivate them. How are we going to because for them it is just like an employment to any other person. They depend on that to feed their children. They depend on that to ensure that their life goes on. So my personal appeal is, how are we going to promote them? Because I've had an opportunity to work also with a group known as the Tirop's Angels. You remember the issue that we had with the Tirop, and it happened in Iten, and we have a lot of we've had a number of incidences. I think they need to be, our sportsmen and women needs to be invested on as a county. Investing on them in what dimension? Number one, it's about giving them information. It's about educating them, because we have issues whereby these people, the young men and women athletes, will get sponsorship, will get good medals, would get good finances, but at the end of the day, when they retire or when injury comes across, you find that somebody even cannot pinpoint where the millions have gone. So I think it's something that needs to be looked into to ensure that they are invested on, to ensure that they are imparted knowledge. They are taken even to class to tell them on investment, to teach them on finances, on how to handle finances, and how to make the right decision when they get money. Because at the end of the day, they'll benefit, and also the county will benefit in terms of development. Another thing is about also socially, in terms of how they relate with people and how they make their right social decisions, and how they raise alarm in case of any social injustice. Because we've had instances of them being attacked, them being victims of GBVs. So I think it's something that they need to be also educated on how to, the red flags, on how to raise red flags and what have you. So I think it's something that we need to invest on, and also to come up with what we call sports academies. When we talk about sports academies, this will go a long way to ensure that young talents are detected and also are known early, and also to ensure that we promote them so that we have a hub of talents, so that we have a smooth transition in terms of talent. And somebody say that every young person has either talent, has creativity, or has the mind. So by having talent, it needs to be spotted early through the academies and what have you. So it is a large spectrum that needs to be looked into and also to be promoted. And then about tourism in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Of course, as you come, we only have, I think, we allowed you 2 minutes to talk about tourism.
Yeah. And talk about tourism. Elgeyo Marakwet, in its own way, it is a hub of tourism without any what you call decoration or any other sifa. In its own, the topography and what have you, it's something that needs to be given credit and also to be proud of. And we have opportunities in terms of waterfall. We have the game park. We have the valleys, the hanging valleys, and what have you. I think it's something that we need also to concentrate on and pump some resources to it to ensure that it brings the economic appeal. Because what we have says, at the end of the day, you find that what needs to be done is just to bring the economic appeal. How are we going to benefit in terms of the economy? Because at the end of the day, if we just have the topography and what have you and fail to tap into it by investing some amount to it, then we'll not get any benefit in terms of the economy. So I think it's something that we can invest in and also to provide resources for. And then that is with regard to tourism. And I think I can make my last my final submission.
You can actually make your I think you can now talk to your voters directly through that camera as part of your parting shot.
Kalia, I've grown in business over time, and I mean, as I go to the people, I'm confident that I might be the young person who is just doing small business in town, right? But I tell them, if I always use the cliche that I've been in a position to do stitching for our leaders, and most of them I stitched in the previous campaigns, and most through my shirts and my my outfits, they got successful and they got the opportunity to be senators, to be governors, and what have you. So if the handler, who is me, I've made through my talent and my creativity, I've been in a position to push them to be who they are, then why not me to be the next senator? And then just to pinpoint, we've had Johnson Andrews, who was the 17th president of the United States. That person was a tailor from his initial stages, and he became the senator, and before becoming the vice president of Lincoln, and after Lincoln's assassination, he grew to be the president, and he did a lot. And by doing a lot, I'm also confident. I'm also a tailor, a young person who is striving, who is working hard in business, and I'm so confident by having my 5 agendas outlined to the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. I'm going to be the voice of reason, and also I'm going to be the voice of change. And I am humbly requesting the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County to consider me as their next senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County. And I promise that what I've outlined as my agenda, that is in terms of legislation, representation, oversight, and the 2 which are major and so close to me in terms of self-employment to the young people, and also the unity of purpose amongst the leaders. So it's a high time and also an opportunity for the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet County to consider a young, energetic, ambitious, very determined, and also a very robust leader, and that is found nowhere else but in Dan Kipkorir Ruto, ama jamaa wa manguo.
Ama jamaa manguo. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. It has been a very, very, very beautiful conversation. I've liked the feedback we've been getting. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for being on the Morning Glory Show. And just to also thank those who participated. I've seen all of you on the comment section, and the time has come now to appreciate you. I know maybe not everyone would get the cake, but then today I'm going to use a very funny mode of giving out the cake. So one, I'll give a cake to Kim Slavin because she's been active on this particular broadcast and also previous broadcast. So Kim Slavin, I'll give her a cake as a single person. Also, I'll give the second cake to Gogo Small because he's been consistent with us. He's been consistent with us on all these broadcasts. The third cake, that one that is being given out by Dan, would go to a list of people. And so the first person I would want to mention is there is Lee Maritim. And this cake actually tunapeana kesho. So tunakata hii keki hapa kesho. So we'll have Lee Maritim, I have Queen She, I have Vasbel Kemboy. I'll make the list. I think it will be a list of almost 10 people. I'll make that list. Na kesho tunakata keki hapa kwa studio. So make sure that you're part of that particular broadcast kesho. Tomorrow we'll go live here. I'll give the time to cut a cake for some top fans. So Kim's live in at keki yake ni yake. She'll come with her friends. Watakata hapa. That is separately, maybe today or tomorrow. It's upon them. Gogo Small will come with his team. Wakata yao. Gogo will pick his team. But the third cake that is being given out by Dan today, I'm sure we'll be able to make the list together with you. And of course, Dan, I think cake lazima moja ende Elgeyo Marakwet. I think Gogo Small comes from Elgeyo Marakwet, so at least he'll at a benefit. But from the one that Dan is buying, tomorrow we'll have a team here to come and cut that cake. What when you identify already, there is Limari team, there is Queen She, there is Aspel Boy. My directors will give me, they will make the list longer, and tomorrow we'll be able to do and give out that cake to the people who come in. Maybe they are new members, and they've been consistent with that. So we'll make sure you do that tomorrow. But Leo, Kim Slavin, thank you so much. Gogo Small, thank you so much. Pass by with your team. Lazima tukate hii keki hapa kidogo, then the bigger part of it, you carry it home. My name is MC Kalia. This has been the Morning Glory Show. Remember, tomorrow also we will be having very interesting conversation about pregnancy. Last week we had experts from IVC Milimani Hospital coming here to talk about the issue of contraception. Tomorrow they'll be talking about pregnancy period. What do you need to know since conception mpaka mtoto azaliwe? What are some of the best practices and all that? Remember that tutakuwa na mazawadi. Also remember that actually tomorrow somebody will walk away with a chance to deliver at IVC Milimani Hospital. So if you know anyone who's expecting a child, that dance you kama unajua mtu yote Elgeyo Marakwet mwenye ana expect mtoto anytime soon, tomorrow we'll be giving out one chance for somebody to deliver at IVC Milimani Hospital, who are giving us experts to talk about human reproductive health. Okay. So if you know anyone, tag them tomorrow. We'll be putting up a poster today. Tomorrow, somebody walks away with a chance to deliver at IVC Milimani Hospital. Also, 2 of them will get, I'm sorry, it was Jadel sijui nini. Hiyo kitu pia Jadel, I know ladies know it, and those who already having children know it. I told them we have 2 spaces. I will give out 1 tomorrow. Then also there is somebody will walk away with an ultrasound scan, courtesy of IVC Milimani. So make sure that kesho you're part of the show. So tomorrow there's a lot of presents being given out, and remember all the presents we give out from Dawi Afrique Photography, that is Zion Mall. So kama mention jina lako, the one for the group, it will be tomorrow. I'll give the time, most probably in the afternoon, so that everyone is in town. But the ones for today, Kim's Levin and Kogo Small, you can pick the cake at your pleasure, but tag along your friends also while coming to pick the cake. Thank you so much. My name is MC Kalia, and until tomorrow, see you. Asante sana.